Okay, so if you're having a problem with email deliverability, it's most likely not your offer, it's not your lead list, but it's the actual setup, the infrastructure that has gone wrong. So I have compiled for you a lead list today. I'm going to rank every single topic that I can think of that could affect the email deliverability. Let's go. We have a must-have, a best practices, a good situation, overrated, and finally destroy your infrastructure tier list. I have 24 topics. Let's get into this. Okay, so first of all, ESP quality. This is a must-have. So if you want to cook your infrastructure, go with a bad reseller or just have a terrible email service provider quality. If you don't know what ESP is, it's email service provider. I'm not going to go in too much detail in this video. I'm just going to simply rank them. If you're interested in any of these topics, you can find this on my channel. You can just go back and watch those. I have compiled a 1-hour super breakdown video somewhere. I'm going to link this up here so you can watch it here and just follow along. Okay, so simply I'm just going to rank every single topic here. Let's move on to domain health. If you have seen the video, you know this is going into the must-haves as well. So domain health is something that is non-negotiable as well. So if you know anything about email, it's either the ESP that could be bad or the domain health. Basically, these are the must-haves, the best ones. If you're missing any of these, then you could do all of them that I'm mentioning right, all the 20 other something in this list, and you're still going to suffer. So if you have these bad, then there's nothing you can do. So what affects really domain health is basically the age, the sender reputation, and a whole bunch of other things. Okay, so next is list quality. So where does this go? So this could be, I would say, either must have or best practices. I would just put it in must have or best practices. It's a little bit situational in the sense, but I'm not going to put it into must have because that's a whole different category in itself. But having a good quality list is just always going to help no matter what. And it's just going to land in best practices. Next is email copy. Within this, there are several things. So if you just take a look at the coming up ones like text only, website, stuff like this is all going to affect it. But email copy, again, is just going to be best practice. So if you have a good copy that is under 150 words, fourth grader reading level, super clean offer, super easy to read, it is going to be the bare minimum, I would say. That is going to help. So because if you're messaging the right people with the right offer, good quality leads, good quality domains, you're going to do absolutely wonderful, even if you mess a lot of things up that I'm going to mention here in this video. So next up is segmentations. So basically segmenting your list into different categories, right? So you could do it horizontally, you could do it vertically in terms that you're scaling up vertically or horizontally. So for example, if you're doing agency niches, so you could be targeting agencies, you could go down the ladder, like target freelancers, or go up the ladder and move up vertically and target B2B consulting companies or just enterprise companies, right? So that's vertical scaling. So always good to segment for those type of situations. I would put it into best practices because you could still do really good with this. I would actually put this in best practices because this can affect the whole system quite a lot. Because just think about it, if you're messaging marketing agency owners, you're going to talk to them differently as opposed to if you're talking to AI companies, for example. Even though if your service could help both of them, both companies have different pain points, right? So AI companies could have totally different pain points and problems than the marketing agencies. Marketing agencies could be struggling with churn. AI companies could be struggling with getting new clients in the door, or just getting the foot in the doors. Could be totally different. Always good to segment your copy. Segment the list as well as the copy. Okay. So next, I just put it as validation stack. Again, this is best practices. So what does this mean? Make sure you clean the list. Make sure the emails you can send to, if catch-all, make sure you clean them as well. Make sure you separated them, segmented them if you're doing that as well. So you're sending the right copy to the right people. So best practices again. Next is the sequencer. This is, I would say, situational for the very reason that sequencers do not affect deliverability at all. Okay, what do I mean by this? The only reason they could affect it is if it's not sending out properly. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in the sense that if it's not doing its job, what it's meant to do, its sole focus, easy to do thing, then of course it's not going to work well. But if you just compare something like Smart Lead or Instantly, there's hot debates about this every single day. You're going to be fine with both of them, so don't worry a thing. So there's special sequencers like Email Bison and a whole bunch of other ones that cost quite a penny. I would say it's not worth it if you are not doing high volume sending like we are. If you are, it's recommended to build out a custom solution, but that can cost up to 10, 15, 20,000 if you want to do it right. So I recommend just going with one of those or just paying for something that's going to get you high and good deliverability in this sense. So, I mean, just think about it. If it's not sending out correctly, then you're going to have a problem with deliverability. So, for example, if you put on a 42-minute break between each email and you're sending 15 emails per day per Google account and it sends it in 2 minutes, then that's going to be a problem. So it's situational, but if you're using something like Instantly Smartly, you're going to be absolutely fine. Next is Warmup. Again, situational, hot take. The reason it's situational is because with Google, you do need to absolutely warm up the inboxes for 14 days, if not more. That's the best practices. If you're doing Outlook, because just the 2 cents on this, and not going to touch on it super much, but Google cares more about domain health than email health, the ESP quality, right? And the simple fact is, if you have good warm up and you warm up the domain nicely for 14 days, you're going to have an absolute fantastic job sending out cold emails all day long. Though with Outlook, it's either you have a good tenant or a bad tenant. If you have a bad tenant, you can re-roll the IP. If not, it's good. You can send out first day. It doesn't really matter. Some people tell you you have to wait 3 days. Some people tell you wait 14 days. Some people tell you wait 7 days. Doesn't really matter. They really don't know what they're talking about because it's all about the tenant and IP reputation that comes with the actual tenant. Okay, so next, volume hacking. Again, quite a touchy topic, but basically volume over quality, that's never really going to work. That is overrated. Just always think about it. If you're sending, say, 1,000 emails a day with 6% reply rates, that's going to get you 60 replies. If you're just sending, say, 5,000 emails with just a 1% reply rate, that's going to be worse than sending 1K at 6% because you're going to get 50 as opposed to 60. So you got to combine both. So make sure you're doing good volume with good quality sending as well. But there is a drop off at a certain point. If you're sending like millions of emails every single month, then even like a 2-3% reply is absolutely fine. Okay, so SMTP, just avoid it. Don't use SMTP. Don't use anything. Again, just going back to ESP quality. Use Google, use the Microsofts. Don't use anything else. SMTP, just think about it, like these services have been around for decades and they have a proven track record. Your little SMTP server that you have spun up or just using someone's private that somebody might have nuked the other week is not going to cut it, right? Like think about it like that. Your infrastructure, if you have a bad day, if someone marks your emails as spam just a couple of times, your whole infrastructure is cooked. So don't do it unless you're using transactional SCS, AWS, email SMTP sending, which is a whole other topic. I talked about it in previous videos, so if you're interested in that. But it's basically like transactional email systems. So if you think about it like, receipts, Calendly information, all these confirmation emails that you want to have in your inbox, is basically mimicking that, and you can set up your own systems and servers. But at the moment, I don't know anyone who's doing this, so just don't recommend it. TDL, so top level domain, it doesn't matter, okay? So I don't care what people say. Based on our data, based on everything we have collected, it really doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you're using a .com. And by the way, if you don't know what TDL just means, top level domain. So basically anything that comes after the domain. So, google.com, right? Like google.co, all of that. So .com doesn't automatically give you a better advantage, right? Doesn't matter. Next is domain age. This is situational because it's not going to magically save you. If you have a domain that is longer or older than 30 days, that's good. If you have a domain that is older than a year, even better. The longer domains have better IP reputation, especially if they've not been abused for cold emails before. So that's always, always a key. It's not going to save you. What it's going to do is it's going to make you go into spam that much later. So it's going to give you a little bit more of a leeway to mess up. That's it. Next is provider matching. Best practices at the moment could change in the future because in the past, like emails from Google inbox great to Outlook, but vice versa, no. But it's always been good that Google to Google, Outlook to Outlook has been always fine. So that's the reason why most sequencers have a provider matching feature. It's because of this, right? Like if you Google, you want to prefer emails from Google to your own system, right? Why wouldn't you want to do it? You know, I'm not the email god or whatever. So this could change in the future. At the moment, this is the best practice that you should be doing. And, you know, it's been like this for years and years. So it should not be subject to change anytime soon. Okay. Next is Spintax. I would say overrated. Actually, let's call it situational, right? The reason is because Spintax used in the wrong way is going to do more harm than good. The reason is because if your emails are short, then that's fine. But if your emails are like hundreds of words long and if you put like Spintax on it, you must do it because it's just too long. The email server providers are going to catch on to what you're doing. You're doing cold email. Your emails are super long and they look exactly the same, right? Straight to spam. There's a pattern recognition that's going on behind the scenes. So make sure you use Spintax. But what I mean is if you use Spintax in a way that your sentences don't match up. So for example, it's just creating jargon that doesn't really work well. It's not going to work, right? So there are certain ways you can use Spintax where if you train an AI model, it's going to give you wonderful Spintax variations. But if you use it in the wrong kind of way, it's going to actually mess up your whole messaging and your offer is not going to be clear. So in this case, deliverable is going to shrink. You're going to get more people to go to spam. You're going to get more people to mark you as spam as well. So just make sure you watch out for this. Spam checker, I would say, again, situational. The reason is because if you go to Mailmeter or any of these, they all do the same. It's basically just an algorithm designed by the team. It's not fact. It's really not the Google, Microsoft algorithm. It's just basically something that the community has created. And as you can see, marks words for dear friend, unnatural, overpromise, shady, and urgency. So if you can have something, we usually go with something that's under 3 words that is spam or, you know, marked as like suspicious or something like this, that's fine. But, you know, even that is just some like voodoo type stuff. It's not proven. It's just something that we do because we seem to perform better using this system. Again, there's no really guarantee to prove this. Consulting and consultants, there's really no other word you can substitute this with. So, you know, in this sense, you have to use some certain words. That's why it's situational. So always just treat it with a grain of salt. Okay. Subject lines, it's good. They're good. Good on deliverability because if you can match up your subject line with a good first line and pairs up very nicely, like think about like a thumbnail and a title in a YouTube video, probably the one you clicked on and the one you're watching is paired up very nicely because that's the reason you're watching this, right? It is good. It doesn't affect the deliverability. It affects if people click it. Thus, you know, could get you better replies and overall just more conversations, less people just clicking on it as spam. So that's why I would just put it as good. Okay, next, text only. Must have in the current landscape. I would say it's well, must have. No, it's best practices. These have their own tiers. I would say best practices. Just send text only, emails, no links, none of that. Enough said about this. Okay, website question mark. So what does this mean? So redirecting domains, it's been always a question of whether or not to do it. So for example, if you have 15 domains and they're all redirecting to the same site, is it a good idea? It is, but this goes based on what you think about this. Like, for example, if you're just doing basic redirect, it's probably going to destroy infrastructure, so don't do it. If you're doing what I recommend to do, so for example, scaling room, what we do is we just build the very same Netlify site, just copy paste the code and just host it for free and just upload it. That is really, really good. That's best practices, right? There are some stealth ways you can redirect. They cost a pretty penny and it's overall worse than building something on the site itself. So what we do is just copy the HTML, CSS, JavaScript from the website. You can use any website download. Even if you're using Webflow, you can just download the site, go onto Netlify, and just basically upload the code onto all of your domains. I know it takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it. So personalization, situational. Again, if you're using something like First line personalization, which is actually coming up here. I would say it's overrated. It's not going to destroy infrastructure, but it's terrible. It's overrated, right? Personalization in sense, if it's used correctly, it's actually good. It is good, right? Like if you think about it, like if you segment your list and you personally talk about your copy and you combine it like this, it's really good. Okay, adding links, images, HTML, gonna fry your infrastructure, so don't do it. Gonna land in spam, absolutely just a no-go. Signatures, etc., if done right, is good. So if you don't put any images, you don't put anything, it's just a text-only signature, it is good to have, right? All emails on all campaigns. So this is bad. It's going to probably destroy infrastructure. So think about it like this. That's not really something that you want to do. If you have one email saying like 15 variation to 15 different niches to 15 different segments, can get quite a little bit suspicious, right? So don't do it. Okay, not killing bad campaigns. Again, it's going to destroy infrastructure. So anything below like 1% or whatever your benchmark is, for us, it's like 2%. So if it's below 2% reply rates, just kill it and get something else, because most likely emails are not delivering or a lot of people are marking them as spam. Okay, so this has been the definite tier list to email deliverability in 2025 as of July. Some of the stuff is subject to change. I try to make this list as evergreen as possible so you can just come back to it 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, and most of this is going to be 100% accurate. Okay, but I'm not a wizard. I cannot predict what's coming in the future, but this is something that you can always follow. I hope you got some value out of this. If you have any questions, you can just message me personally on Instagram. Better yet, if you want to talk to me, there's going to be a link in the description, so you can just book a call with me and we can talk one-to-one if you have any questions. All right, with this in mind, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.